All right, so we're going to show you Atrium Integrator here today. This is going to be a real simple tutorial just to show you just a real quick way to get Atrium Integrator, a job set up, an Atrium Integrator job set up and bringing in some data into the CMDB. What we're going to do here is follow along, for the most part, on section 2 of the Atrium Integrator User's Guide. And in there that talks about creating a job and bringing that data in. So what I've done is created those CSV files, and we're going to follow that along and just show you visually how everything works here. So I'm going to go ahead and log in as myself here, and we're going to go right into Atrium Core Console. And you'll notice right off the bat that underneath the integration engine, we now have Integrator in addition to AIE. So this is the product that's being phased out, and here is our new integrator. This console, as you notice, will look exactly the same as, or have the same look and feel as the rest of the consoles within the Atrium Core product, and such as normalization and reconciliation. So what we're going to do, we have some sample jobs here on the left, right, and then history and job details if we have any details that we want to look at, right. So what we're going to do right here is come up to this icon up here and create a job. This will bring up a little splash screen. This splash screen is just an image, right? So it says click anywhere to begin. These things are not direct links, so don't think you can click on this to go create your data store or this to do relationship mappings. This is just it's just like clicking next down here, right? So that's what we're going to go ahead and do. Click next. We're going to give this a name, just call it an import tutorial. Testing import, right? Just something along those lines. Here we go, and now the next thing it's asking for us is here is that it's asking where is the source of this information coming from. We have three options here. We have CSV, database, and XML. The files that I have are in CSV, so we're going to define a CSV data source, okay? And so we're going to give it a name here. Well, if you pull this down, it's blank, okay? So what we need to do is define a data store, and we'll have to do that here for the target as well. And that data store is nothing more than just a representation of where the data either resides that you're pulling in, or the data is that you're exporting to, okay? So for this version, for 7604, our target data source is only the CMDB. You'll see there's no pull down menu here, right? So I can only write to CMDB forms for 7604. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and define both of them once I go into this data store button down here and create my data stores. Okay, so this is not anything rocket science here or hard. The first thing we're going to do is, since this is the first default one, we're going to create the CMDB data store. All right, and we're just going to call this one Atrium CMDB. And server name. And we'll go ahead and test connection, and we're successful. So everything's good there, so we'll go ahead and save. The next one we do need to create is the CSV file. And really quick, I'll bring that up in your frame here. It's nothing more than just a directory, okay? So here is the directory. And I'll go ahead and copy that, so I have that in my buffer, and I'll show you that why in a second here. And go ahead and create a new data store, and pull down this menu here, and you can see you have other options, database or XML file. Go ahead and create a CSV file, and we will call this one tutorial CSV. Very creative. And you can see why I had to copy that path, because I do not have a browse button or anything over here, right? So you just need to have that path in your buffer or manually type it in. Okay? And we're going to hit test path. It should test okay. And there we go. One word of caution. You can put a trailing backslash on this, and it will still test okay. You do not want to include that in your path. You want to leave that off. What happens is when it appends the file name, it'll actually say fuck this and then file name .csv, right? So that is what will happen. Obviously, I can spell file name out golden. That is just a tip here. You want to leave that one. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and save that. So now we have both of our data stores. Once this commits, there we go. So we have our output data set and our input data set. Okay, so we'll cancel this and go back. And now I'm able to make these selections. So here I can pick my source data set with the tutorial CSV file, and the output with the Atrium CMDB. And now I can select the data set. And for those of you that don't know how to create this, this is highlighted in section 2 of the Atrium integration user guide of how to create this data set. I went ahead and already created this tutorial data set. And we're going to select next here. And now what this brings up is what kind of transformation is this, or what kind of transfer of data is this? And immediately the product gives you these templates. Excuse me for the popping up menu there. If we had applications or if we had servers or something like that, and we had all of this information, so I click on this, it'll show me. Let me add up, so I have to add, excuse me. It'll show me if I have like servers, operating systems, products, IP addresses. If I had all of that information, I could use this template and it would walk me through everything that I needed to know. Okay, obviously I don't have that. All I have in this demonstration is going to be computer systems and disk drives. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and remove this out of the right-hand side there, and I'm going to select CI list. Okay, and now you can see all of the things that we can bring in that it knows about. And it has categorizations for all of these things if it's not a specific class. Okay, so what we're going to do, come up here and use predictive typing here. So we're going to type in computer system. Okay, so there's computer system. I'm going to add that to the right hand side. And I also said that I had disk drives. So I'm going to add disk drive. Okay. We're going to add that to the right. And there we go. So those are I'm just telling the system at this point, here's my 2 classes that I'm going to bring the information into. And I'm going to say next. And automatically, this is a nice feature of AI, something that AIE does not do, is it knows that there's a relationship that exists between those 2 classes and says, hey, do you want to bring this across? You don't have to. You can click next and say no. But we are. You can take advantage of that. Add that off to the right hand side, click next. And now it's asking us to map the file, or map the attributes to the destination class. So here's our target attributes, here's our source attributes. Obviously there are none. I need to come over here to the right hand side and select my file. And you recall it uses the data set or the data source that I gave it of the CSV file. So this one is asking us for the computer system. So we're going to pick the computer file. And you see I have my 3 attributes. Okay? And so we're just going to go ahead and map these. So the nice thing here is the name field, which is the only required field really, is up at the top. Obviously it has the asterisk in there. So we're going to go ahead and map name to name. So highlight that one, highlight this one, click map. Brings it down to the bottom. Okay? And we're going to go ahead and continue. We're going to say manufacturer name. So I'm going to map that manufacturer name. And again, I can type it in here to get my result. And manufacturer name, we'll map that in there. And I'm going to map host name. So this is what's going to be a little bit different than what the document says. I mapped a little bit different fields here. Host name to host name. And let's see, I'm going to also map, we got serial number here. So I have serial number, the serial number. I'm going to map that. And I also like putting, just for this demonstration, I also like putting the host name into the short description so that when I open it up in Atrium Explorer, I don't see NA. Okay, so I actually have some value in there. Obviously I could change that, but it's a little bit more. Okay, so I have 5 attributes mapped here. I have short description, serial number, host name, manufacturer name, and name. Okay, and now you can see it's not letting me click next. The one thing in this red box keeps popping up, and you can see that if you pause or whatever. What's happening is, and I'll leave this right here, it's asking me what is the one attribute that distinguishes this row of data from the next row, right? So what is my uniqueness, okay? And let's see, we're going to do the host name row, because that is the unique entry, okay? And so now it highlights this transformation options up top. And what this is asking for is what is the delta? So if you were to do multiple runs of this and you get the same file, how would the system know not to bring in the data that it already brought in, right? So if it was something that was exported last month and we brought it in, I don't want to bring that data in again. I only want to bring in the net new stuff. So if you had a timestamp of some nature on that source data, you could use that here. Well, we don't have that in my data file, so I'm going to select no. Okay, and now I have in my next button. I can click on next, and we're going to leave this as no. Okay, so we're not going to do anything with data or with Delta data. Excuse me. So now the next thing it moves on to is disk drives. Okay, so we're going to do the same exact thing here we did before, and we're going to choose disk drives as our source file, and we're going to start mapping attributes. So name is already there. We're going to map name to name, and we're also going to map a short description while we're at it, so that shows up as well. Okay, and so this is the one thing that I want to call out in the documentation. It's a little bit off. They actually have you mapping this associated computer name to a field called external. Well, obviously you can see I don't have external parent integration ID. So there is a field in there called system name, and that's where I'm going to put that field. Okay? So it's a little bit different from what the documentation says. And didn't map serial number yet. So I'm going to map serial number to serial number. Okay? And serial number in this instance is going to be my source key. So that's what's unique. I can have different, same names, if it's like Western Digital, 1 terabyte or whatever it may be, right? That could be the same name. So that would be not a good thing, but the serial number would be unique. Okay? So then obviously we're going to have to go back up here to transformation options. I do not have any Delta data to trigger this off of, so I'm going to hit next. And now, recall that it asked about relationships, so we're in the relationships mapping. So it's asking how I'm going to glue computer systems with disk drives. How am I going to make that relationships? Well, I already have post name, that's my uniqueness over here. So what am I mapping that to over here? And we're going to tell it to use the associated computer system. Okay? And again, the transformation options highlights. We don't have anything for Delta data for relationship CIs. Select no and hit next. At this point, it's asking us to create a schedule. In the documentation, it does walk you through creating a schedule. We're not going to create one right now. We can do that later. And we're going to hit next. Okay, so this is just a kind of review. It says we're going to map to computer system and disk drive, and we're going to have a relationship type of system disk drive. And we're just going to hit finish. This takes a little bit. So I'm going to play some Jeopardy music. And here it goes. So it's created these transformations. So it created a computer system transformation, and we'll show you that here in the next video. And a disk drive transformation, and it's created the relationship transformation. Okay, so we have 2 CIs and a relationship. So this is all already created. It talks about the source. We're all good. The one word of caution: do not click this Open in Tahoe button. This will, I think it takes a long time to open up in Tahoe. So it's just better just to open up in Tahoe and open up this job. It's readily available. So we're going to click OK. And there we go. We have our job right up here. And now with the standard controls that I have, I can go ahead and click OK, or click Start Job, excuse me. And this takes a second to fire up. And you see the start time. Expand this out. Running. Typically for me, my experience with this is it finishes really fast, but it takes a while to update this this console. So I'm going to go ahead and pause right here while it's running. Okay. Now that we're back here recording, it has finished. You can see it only took a couple of seconds, but it took about a minute for it to show back up on the screen here. So it might be some caching or something. Nothing to worry about. So this job has completed. So we have run the data, or run the integration, and brought the data in. So I'm going to come back over here, and I'm going to go into Explorer, and we're going to go actually just make sure, just a sanity check to make sure that data is in our system. find, and here we're going to switch our data set to our tutorial data set. Just going to go ahead and search, and look, I mean, so you can see everything that's in there, right? So I have disk drives and I have computer systems. So we'll just highlight one of these computer systems and show that in our view. Okay, and now we'll come over here, and just to see that we do have our disk drive attached to it, there you go. So I have my computer system, and I have my disk drive, and I have my relationship. If I hover over there, there you go, system disk drive. Very easy, right? And just in case you really want to see it, make sure this was not smoke and mirrors. If I edit this, you'll see I have my serial number in there. So it did populate all of the fields that I asked it to, right? Dell, all of the fields that I mapped. Name, short description, host name, all of that has been mapped, okay? Very good. So in the next video, we're going to talk about expanding this job in the Pentaho client.